3KG Community Broadcasting.
Good evening and welcome to the weekly Coach's Kage show here on 3kgthecage.com. I'm Bill Kage, joined with Bob Kurtz. As got a little bit of an abbreviated schedule here tonight. A lot of coaches in action on a Wednesday night. Something that we're not used to, but that's the sectional schedule plays out. We had some teams already in the books for last night, and by the end of tonight, we'll have everybody that'll get some action on. Do we have any people with buys, Bobby? Frontier's the only bye coming up. They'll play Friday. In fact, they're slated. We're going to kick things off tonight with Tri-County coach Ryan Harrington, who was victorious last night. A big game for the Cavaliers. But I'm going to ask you, Ryan, if you would, let's jump back. I don't want to miss that other game that you closed the season with. You had a nice victory at Pioneer, a 20-point victory back on February 23rd. Why don't we talk about that one first, because that seemed to set you guys up in the right frame of mind anyways.
Yeah, so, getting an opportunity to get back to 1A schools, because, we played, some of those. And Pioneer's a small 2A, but, they used to be in our sectional. It's one of those things you're kind of used to playing them. For a couple years there, I didn't love having that game as the last game of the season, because it was like, we may end up playing them next week. But right now, how things work out, it's pretty nice. And they're a really solid team. They finished the regular season with 9 wins. So, they've beat some really quality opponents. They beat DeMont Christian, who beat us. So it's one of those things that we knew going into it. They really like the three-point shot. So if they're able to hit a lot of threes, then they can stay in games. And they also have a really good player, number 10 for him, Kage, and he's also the coach's son. So he's been a varsity starter for them for 4 years now, and just been a really, really solid player for him. So we kind of knew going in we got to limit his opportunities and, again, limit the three-point opportunities for the rest of the guys. And it was a pretty back-and-forth game. The first quarter we got out, and, if it wasn't for Kobe Baylor, we wouldn't have won that first quarter. It was 12-7 after the first, and Kobe Baylor had 10 of our 12.
Wow.
So we really relied on him at the start of that game. And, going into the second quarter then, we struggled a little bit. We only scored 6 points. Kobe scored 2 of those 6. So going into halftime, our 18 points, Kobe Baylor had 12. And, again, got to give Pioneer credit. They fought hard. It was 18-17 at halftime. So kind of a low-scoring affair, back and forth, a physical game. And we just told the guys, you got to stay in it. We knew going over playing Pioneer, their team traditionally they're very physical because they have that football tradition,
right.
And that just kind of goes hand in hand. And it's a good thing because it helps prepare us for these games, obviously down the road in a sectional atmosphere. And we told them just lock in, adjust to how the officials are calling it. They're letting some stuff go, which is fine. That means they're going to let it go on us too. And so we just came out in that third quarter then and started to really put things together. We were able to build our lead up to 32-26, and then really, that fourth quarter is when the doors really opened up for us. We scored 20 points in that fourth quarter. They were only able to score 6 points, and a big part of that was when we started to extend the lead, they had to go into a press and try to extend a press on us, and we just did a great job of passing the ball forward and finding the open guy down low for layups. So pretty big. I mentioned Kobe had 12 at the half. He finished with 20, and then Riley Hughes had 11. But the huge difference maker that game for us really was Eric Zarzi. He scored 11 of his 13 points in the second half, and he really took over things and really made a huge difference with his energy and how he finished the game off for us.
Probably hard to press you guys when you have Zarzi running at full strength, isn't it?
You got Zarzi, Hughes, obviously.
Hey, you have a nice...
When we got those guards going, it's tough to press us, so...
Low-scoring games like that, rebounding always seems to be more important than anything.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, we mentioned our guards can break a press, our big guys can get rebounds. Between Connor Ross, Kobe Baylor, Grayson Schneider, great opportunities for us. Even Noah Dallenberg, when he gets in there, those guys are really good at boxing out and, securing the rebound and, whatever they got to do that. A lot of times it's really physical down low, and those guys are definitely covered in bumps and bruises. So
That left you at 11-11 on the season, and I did a little research there. Tri-County has not had a over 500 record since 2017-18 season.
Yep.
Even though that you were sectional winners last year.
Yep.
But one game under 500. So is that kind of got to be a goal for you guys?
Oh yeah,
too?
and that's the thing. Unfortunately, we lost a couple games earlier in the season. We thought we could win. It was one of those things where we thought we would kind of secure that winning season just in the regular season. But credit to the guys, we're over 500 now, and so we get that win on Friday. We'll secure that winning season for us to end things off here.
You are defending sectional champions in that exciting overtime game against North White last year, 43-40. But that should be, you're looking at Frontier coming up, but let's talk about last night where you opened it up, sectional play against South Newton, your conference foe, and really hammered them big time, 70-39.
Yeah, again, it's one of those things we executed well, but going into the game, it wasn't something that we thought like, oh, this is going to be an easy win for us. You mentioned obviously a conference rival, but really a big rival for us in general. Through the years, if you ask me who's Tri-County's biggest rival, I'd probably say South Newton. Now, the last couple years we've kind of had their number, but it doesn't mean that there's not going to be a time when they get back up. And I know Coach Montemeyer's done a great job with them. Of all the teams we played, even in the regular season, we talked about they're one of the hardest working teams. They cut hard, they do everything as hard as they can, and you can tell that they're coached really well. So we knew we had to come in and kind of set the tone early. We talked to the guys before we went out into the game as far as make sure that they call the first time out. Pressure them, do whatever we got to do, build a lead, make them call the first time out. And a little over 2 minutes into the game, they called that first time out, and the guys were really fired up. So it was really exciting. We came out shooting really well. I mentioned that last week at Pioneer, we scored only 18 points in the first half. We scored 19 in the first quarter last night. So just came out, really executed our offense. We made some adjustments to how we're attacking that zone defense, and the guys did a really good job of that. And again, really, Kobe Baylor was a huge piece of that, scoring a ton of points for us. He had 21 on the night for us, but 16 of those are in the first half. And he's 7 of 8 at the free throw line in the first half alone. Wow. So you do those types of things, you really set yourself up for success. And again, I mentioned we were scoring offensively. That 19's pretty good in a quarter, but we turned around in the second quarter and scored 24. So
it's probably got to be one of your best quarters of the year, wouldn't it?
I would think 24 is probably the best. I'm not sure off the top of my head. There's not many times we've done that. Maybe a Trader's Point, we scored more in a quarter, but again, really good job by the guys, and a big part of that was with about 12 seconds left. Eric Zarzi was able to get a steal off of an inbounds pass by them, get a fast break layup. So that kind of helped us extend the lead, but then they go down, kind of throw the ball off of Riley Hughes' foot. But it's one of those weird calls a lot of people sometimes misunderstand. If you don't extend your foot, it's not a kicked ball. You can dribble off your own foot, you can dribble off a defender's foot. They have to extend to actually get that call as far as a kicked ball. And
sure,
I think some of those South Newton kids expected that call, and the officials didn't make it. We're in the sectional. These guys are good at what they do. So ball just happened to bounce right in Eric Zarzi's hand. He takes one dribble just inside a half court and lets her fly and banks it in. So
wow.
Really, really cool there, end of the half. And
that's a momentum builder.
Momentum builder, really back crushing if you're South Newton, just as far as, we were already up 17, and those last 12 seconds we extend that lead to 22 points. And again, just after that we were able to just execute things down the stretch. You mentioned Kobe Baylor had 21, Eric Zarzi had 13 again, Connor Ross was big for us with 11. But the piece that has been really huge there coming off the bench, and his role's definitely been growing even as the season's closed out, is Drew Foster. He finished with 9 points off the bench. So we've talked about earlier in this year how many points he scores on that JV, and again, him taking that time to develop and being the lead guy on the JV, now here at the end of the varsity season, he's able to step up into that varsity role and just do that same thing. So it's been pretty special to watch.
every time we saw you guys, I mean, we'd come in the JV game and you just hear him, you know, one after another. His shooting percentage must be tremendous.
Yeah, well, he takes high efficiency shots. When you're only taking layups and open threes, you're probably going to shoot a pretty high percentage. So again, real credit to him, but also his free throw shooting. We got to talk about that. As a team, we shot 16 of 18 at the free throw line.
Whoa.
I mean, how many times were we coming here talking about we shot 50%? So
That
big
is
credit.
outstanding.
Absolutely. And Drew Foster, he was 2 for 2 here. Last night, and even over at Pioneer, he was 2 for 2. So he's our best free throw shooter, I would say, probably in the program. Just as far as we do different drills every day. We try to get the free throw shooting competitive, and whenever we do one of the competitive free throw shooting drills, 9 times out of 10, Drew's the winner. So it's no shock that when he gets in the game, he's able to knock those down.
How nice is it too for you to have that senior leadership in Kobe Baylor to really be hitting it? It seems like hitting his stride right here at the right time.
Yeah, he's so valuable. That's the thing. I've talked to our coaching staff before. I would hate to have to scout him just because, I see it every single day in practice how impressive he is. He does things a little unorthodox at times, but, he's just so big and strong, too. At the end of the third quarter, there was one point, time's running down. We got the ball into Kobe at the post. He just turned and faced and kind of did a fadeaway jumper. And, we've got photos of it that were taken from the baseline, and he's able to elevate to where his eyes are over the guy that's contesting his shot's hand. When he's able to elevate like that and he's fading away there in the post, I mean, there's not a whole lot you can do.
Right.
So he's got some pretty unguardable moves and been a real calming force for us. And, again, just our other seniors too. Connor Ross, I mean, he took a charge last night. I know that's not too shocking. He had to come out of the game at one point. He had blood on his back from bleeding. So just all those things. Yeah, exactly. He's just all over the place. Eric Zarzi, like I mentioned, had that big end of the half. And even Ian Brooks, he came in and was really solid for us defensively at different times last night. So having those 4 seniors and the experience they bring to the table, that's extremely valuable for us. And all those guys, Eric got injured last year going into that sectional, so we didn't have him in the sectional. But those other 3 guys, as far as sectional play, even Ian Brooks, they were instrumental in us winning that sectional last year. So having that experience is just so valuable as we go against some of these teams who haven't played a lot of sectional games.
Are your guys, would you say their confidence is at a season high right now?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Again, you look at the end of our regular season, and we had some tough losses, and we're playing some big schools, but we've talked about that all year. It's intentional, and it's something that we even told them going into it long in advance. Like, we may not win these games, but if we come out and we compete and we get some good looks, it's going to set us up for success when we get into postseason play. And the kids have really accepted that, and they've talked about how, it makes a difference when you go against West Lafayette, a Benton Central, and you see that type of game, and then you go back and you play, a 1A school like South Newton. It's a totally different style, and we were able to kind of do some of those things attacking South Newton that those bigger schools were able to do against us.
Let's look at Frontier. Falcons come in 7-15. Is that the first game or second?
We're the first game.
First game on
so,
Friday?
Yep,
Okay.
6 o'clock Eastern time.
You beat Frontier back in on January 20th in the regular season. That was a home game for you guys, 43-38. You think it's going to be a similar game?
Oh, yeah. I would anticipate it being a close game. Again, it's going to be a hard-fought game. They come in, they match up pretty well with us physically, but again, they got a lot of speed as well, and that's the whole thing, is just kind of those different styles and how can we match up with each other. And I just know they'll do a really good job as far as getting out in transition, obviously. So we've got to limit their opportunities, and Reed Duncan's really crafty. He's a pretty good shooter for him as well. They've got the freshman Chase Winkler, who's really quick, got to stop him in transition, and then Drew Turner on the inside as well. Just, again, they've got a lot of options of guys that they can go to, so we've just got to take those away and execute things on our end as well.
Turner can really fill it up, can he?
Yeah, he can.
He seems like he's a key for what Frontier does.
Yeah, absolutely. He'll get a double-double as far as points and rebounds. That's not at all shocking for a player like him. So we just got to really limit his chances. And, if we do that, then I think we really set ourselves up for, a great chance to win and, advance to that championship potentially.
You guys got a nice sectional history. You guys have, Tri-County has won 9 sectionals in school history, so it'd be nice to tack that on and get number 10 this year, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that would be special, and that's again something we've talked about all year long, and not a lot of teams get to go back to back either. I've got obviously coaches on my staff who've won sectionals as players. Chad Burns way back in the 90s. He won it as a junior in '93, and they didn't get a repeat his senior year, and that's something he's talked about all the time. And same thing with Coach Cook, our JV coach. Won it his junior year, wasn't able to win it his senior year. So that's something we've talked to these guys about all year long. Like, hey, we've got a chance to repeat, but again, that's something that, especially here in the sectional, you just got to take it one game at a time. We're totally 100% focused on Frontier. We got to take care of business with Frontier to even get a chance for that number 10, like you're mentioning there on Saturday night.
The other game in the Caston sectional will feature West Central against Caston. How do you see that one playing out? Do you see, if you had to give a quick look, what do you think you're going to happen there?
I mean, I think it could be a really good game. Watching West Central play last night, you could tell they came out really hungry. They really wanted to be there. They, you could tell they probably were, a little frustrated after losing to North White in the regular season, but I just thought they played so hard, and if they come out and play that hard against Caston, I think it could be a really good game. Bryce Naniga's a heck of a player for West Central, obviously,
yeah.
So we've got a player of his caliber. Anything can happen. That being said, though, Caston's got 2 really good players themselves in the Stinson and Zyder kids, so they're just going to have to limit their opportunities. But if they do that, I think it could be a really good second game there for the sectional.
How was the sectional atmosphere over at South Newton last night?
Well, Caston, but
Caston,
yeah,
I'm sorry.
it's okay. It was pretty good. I thought, especially our crowd, I thought we really turned out well. Sometimes that sectional Tuesday night, especially when you're traveling, it's like an hour 15 minutes for us from Tri-County. I thought our fans did an incredible job of showing up and showing support. And student section, we had them. We had the pep band up there.
Oh,
so,
wow, that's awesome.
It was awesome.
Cool.
The cheerleaders supporting us. It was special. So it's one of those things we're going to get that same type of vibe going here on Friday night, and hopefully we're able to carry that into Saturday as well.
I was looking real quick at the Midwest Conference final standings, and boy, that was really a top-heavy conference. 2 teams at 6-1, tied for the championship there, and DeMont Christian, Faith Christian, and then Tri-County falls in just 1 game behind, tied with North Newton at 5-2. So kind of neck and neck all year, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It was a hard-fought conference, and again, we had a great chance against Faith Christian. We unfortunately fell to them by only 3 points, but we played really hard that game. It was one of those that just came down to the wire. Unfortunately, we weren't able to pull it out, but at the same time, you can look at it a couple different ways. I think it's just kind of helped fuel us here and heading into the sectional now, because that's as far as going down, checking the list of our goals for the season, we're just on to the next one. So
you guys averaged over darn near 52 points a game. You got to like that, scoring 52 and 70 in your last 2 games. Offense is clicking now. You're shooting, obviously, from those free throw stats you gave us. You must be doing pretty darn good. Yeah,
again, it's one of those things that the way that you progress through a season, a lot of coaches go about it different ways, and we just kind of knew, early in the year we're probably going to struggle to hit some shots. So we're really intense on the guys on defense every single day in practice, and so early on that meant that as a result you're not necessarily spending as much time shooting, but you get here towards the end of the season and things start to flip a little bit. You get guys that are obviously everybody's got some type of nickel and dime injury. I'm sure there's very few players across the board that are still playing right now that don't have something going on. So you start to manage those things a little bit and spend more time in practice on things like your jump shot and your free throw making, and obviously those things are really paying off here as we head into the postseason play.
Has Eric Zarcy's year kind of is Is he satisfied with the way he came back from that injury? It seems like he's really stepped up and, is able to be playing, some of his best ball here at the end too.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. Again, it was tough for him as far as breaking his hand last year heading into the sectional, and then, he's all excited to get back for his senior season, and then comes in and, right before the first game rolls his ankle to the point where he can't go. And for those first 5 games, it was tough. And, we've had to kind of work through a lot of that stuff as far as getting him in and getting him healthy, because when you got an ankle sprain as severe as he did, he was back there in early December, but that doesn't mean he was 100% by any means. He still was kind of working through it a lot. And now here these last couple weeks, I think we're really starting to fully see what he looks like when he's 100% healthy. He's a very different person when it comes to defense here these last couple weeks, and again, offensively he's been really strong for us and kind of a calming force at times, which we've needed.
One other player that always seemed to catch my eye is, and I'm sure he's going to be a key for your next 2 games as you go through the sectional, is Connor Ross.
Mm-hmm.
He rebounds, he runs well for a big guy. He's playing well too, isn't he, right now?
We always joke, Connor needs to get some tattoos and start dyeing his hair. He's kind of like Dennis Rodman, but he does everything. The amount of time he spends on the floor is kind of ridiculous. If you see him right now, he's got a floor burn on both shoulders. His hands are, burned up. Obviously, he's got the cut on his back that comes open sometimes and is bleeding. But I say all that, he's never once complained. He's never even said anything like, "Oh, hey, like I'm bleeding," or nothing. He just keeps going, keeps playing hard. And I was joking with his dad after the Pioneer game. He took an elbow to the face in the Pioneer game, and his lip was swollen up pretty good. It's already healed, but just joking with his dad, I'm like, what's going to be the battle scar next week? Like every single time we go out there, he's just putting his nose in those places, working hard to try to get the basketball, and it's just something you can't even coach. It's just his relentlessness is just incredible, and it's been really, really special to get to watch him all 4 years, and how he's continued to develop and mature as an athlete.
Well, keep this success going, and look forward to talking with you next week. Hopefully we'll be talking about a second straight sectional championship for the Cavaliers. Wouldn't that be nice?
It'd be special. We'll take it one game at a time, though.
All right. Thank you very much for joining us here tonight, Coach Ryan Harrington of the Tri-County Cavaliers. We'll take a break here and come back with more on 3KGTheCage.com.
Founded in 1931, Community State Bank in Brook is your community bank. We specialize in relationship banking while offering the technology required to meet your modern banking needs. Community State Bank is the area leader in new construction loans and home mortgages. Our lenders know small business and have products to meet your farm and business needs. We're available to get to know you and your needs today at 224 West Main in Brook, or by calling 219-275-2441.
Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance Agent Joe Goodeman has been serving the Jasper County and surrounding area since 2009. Being involved in the area, Joe Goodeman has kept his interest in making sure he provides the best insurance for his clients. Whether you need life, car, home, business, farm and crops, or even renter's insurance, Agent Joe Goodeman will keep searching for the best policy for your valued investments. Call Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance Agent Joe Goodeman at 219-866-4694 or stop in at 2570 North McKinley Avenue in Rensselaer.
High-quality, personalized dental service is what they do at Hillcrest Dental. For over 40 years, generations have relied on Hillcrest Dental for beautiful, healthy smiles. Dr. John Ayler and Dr. Jack Drone look forward to seeing you for your next dental visit. For information or to set your appointment, call 219-866-7117. That's 219-866-7117, or visit hillcrestdental.net. Hillcrest Dental is a proud sponsor of all high school athletics. Pulver's Psychological Services offers psychological counseling, consultation, and assessment. Locally owned and operated, Pulver Psych focuses on solutions for the community and serves as support for individuals, families, and organizations. Whether you're in need of personal, family, or success counseling, Pulver Psychological Services can help you reach your life goals. Increase work satisfaction, have better relationship compatibility, improve sports performance. Get in touch with Pulver Psychological Services by visiting pulverpsych.com.
Midwest Contractor Services of Rensselaer, with over 15 years of experience, offers both insulation and gutter services for new construction and existing homes in Jasper, Newton, Lake, and Porter counties. You could save money and lower energy bills by adding more insulation to your house. New insulation project? Let Midwest Contractor Services offer you a custom insulation package that fits your needs. Leaves in your gutter? Let us give you a price on leaf protection products that really work and are affordable. Call Marty or Mark at Midwest Contractor Services today at 219-866-0755 and get an estimate for your project.
In agriculture, preparation is important. Dedication is you deciding what to plant and then asking what it will take for a good crop. How much work will it take to produce the final crop? In sports, preparation is vital in becoming the best you can be. Dedication is a will of achievements for a winning desire. Corbett Farms encourages everyone to do their best by having a winning spirit, attitude, and achievement. Your positivity will make a difference. Corbett Farms is proud to sponsor high school sports.
24/7 Club Fit is a 24-hour keycard accessed fitness center located in downtown Rensselaer. The 8,000 square foot facility offers free weights, weight machines, and a large variety of cardio equipment. We also offer free aerobics classes. 24/7 Club Fit offers 6-month contracts starting as low as $25 per month for students, those 55 years and older, and there are no sign-up or keycard fees. We also participate in the Silver Sneakers program. Call 219-866-0033 or contact us on Facebook. 24/7 Club Fit, where time is no excuse.
Welcome back to Arnie's Pizzeria here in Rensselaer, home of the greatest pizza around, man. And they feed us good, treat us well. We love coming here to Arnie's, one of our super sponsors of many. And joining us now is Brad Odom of the West Central Trojans. Coach, I'm going to unfortunately ask you to talk a little bit about those losses down the stretch of the final season, of the final games that last week in the regular season. But we haven't talked about 3 games that you guys had back to back, which is that in itself is a test. But played the Rensselaer Central, played Lake Station, and then you finished up with Pioneer. So let's look at those games and at least talk about who played well and about some of the circumstances. You had the Bombers, Rensselaer Central at home back on February 22nd, which is it'll be a week from yesterday, or tomorrow, excuse me. Mm-hmm. So how did that game go?
So competitive games throughout. You know, we got down a little bit early. Bryce Naniga had a big third quarter for us, and we got close. It was 33-27 at the end of 3. Kept battling, did a great job of trying to keep some of their size off of the backboards, and also did a great job of challenging out on shooters. Thought we kind of took away their rhythm on offense, forced them into some longer possessions than maybe they wanted to, and with about 4 minutes to go, we're down 4 with the ball. And then from there, they kind of got into a little bit of a pressure look on us, and we panicked a little bit late. And that game kind of got away from us. But Bryce Nanigan led us with 26 points.
Wow, big game for him.
Had a great game, you know. And at that point, we were getting some open looks off of the double teams that they provided. and we just didn't knock those down, So it's kind of been one of those things in the last month or so. We're looking for that extra kid to step up and knock down some shots. And while we weren't successful in any of these 3 games back to back to back on our, like what we told our kids, like on our NBA schedule, we started to get some kids that make some shots down the stretch, and that really helped kind of catapult us into our win last night against North White. So
February 23rd, which was last Friday, you made the had Lake Station battle a 3A team and lost that one 44-36.
Yeah, and that's that game was probably one of the weirdest circumstances I've ever been a part of as a coach. Late in the third quarter, the power goes out, and we find out from NIPSCO that it's going to be a couple of hours at a minimum before they could restore power. So pretty much up and down 421, I think from the tail end of White County all the way into Stark County, that whole stretch was out.
Oh, wow. Wow.
So at that point in time, we have to make a decision. What do you do? And we contacted the commissioner's office and said, what are our options? I mean, it's one thing when you have a football game or you have something going on outside, there's protocol there.
Right.
And, some of us have been around the game 20, 30 years, and none of us had any idea what the protocol would be for a basketball situation. So they gave us scenarios. One, you could replay it the next day, and that wasn't going to be an option.
Right.
All 3 of our gyms at West Central were busy, and we didn't have the ability to play them again or to finish it up because we had to go to Pioneer.
Right.
The other options that we had weren't really the best for us either. So in order to come up with a decision on what to do with the game, you have to have a mutual decision. So we could have reverted back to halftime, and we had a lead, or you have to go with the final score of where you ended. So our only other option would have been a no contest, and at no point in time do you want to say, hey, all the things we just did in that game don't matter.
Don't matter, yeah.
So we ended the game where it ended. It's unfortunate because, my kids always kind of pride themselves on making a run late. And we had talked, we'd played a pretty bad third quarter, and we all kind of felt that way.
Mm-hmm.
And we wanted the opportunity to try to compete down the stretch, and right the ship.
Right.
It just third quarter was just a combination of things that just didn't go our way, and it got away from us a little bit. But, my kids have always rallied and regrouped and played real hard down the stretch to make things competitive, and we lost that ability when the power went out. So that night, we tried. We thought about trying to play with the security lights and bringing in our like you do as a kid. Hey, just turn the headlights on the side and keep playing. But then you got to worry about the safety, of the kids, and you got to worry about the safety of the fans. And without the ability to have running water and things like that, I mean, it's just not a good scenario. But in the first half of that game, Bryce Naniga reached the 1,000-point plateau.
Oh, wow.
In his career. So,
Congratulations
we did
to
get
him.
to celebrate that. But unfortunately, that night we didn't get to celebrate our seniors in their last home game with a win. So, then you take that into the next night where we play our third game in 3 days. And we battled for about a quarter and a half and just ran out of steam. We had combinations on the floor late, trying to save some kids their legs, knowing that we were going to play again on Tuesday.
Sure.
Had a kid that hadn't scored a lot this season, stepped up, hit 4 threes, had a career high 21, Jaden Miller.
Whoa.
So you look at kind of where we were at. He still had a motor. He could still go and play hard, and it showed, and it was good for him to get some confidence leading us into sectional. So most teams know, looking at our stats and kind of how we've played, we really had 2 kids that we depend on heavily to score, and that's Brendan Grindstaff as a freshman and Bryce Naniga. Bryce slashes to the basket and can do a variety of things, and that leaves some other kids open at times, and Jaden Miller took advantage of that, and I hope he stays confident in his ability to shoot the ball. And then that leads us into, our game last night against North White. So we had played North White about a week and a half ago.
We were there. Yeah.
Pretty frustrating outcome, for my kids.
I'm sure it was. It was an exciting ball game, though.
It was a game that, we kind of had under control, and then
Yeah.
we didn't have it under control. And they were pretty frustrated with how that game ended, frustrated with the quality of basketball we put on the floor. And, you know, when we all met that weekend for the sectional draw, there was one name that we really wanted to see. And my kids were pretty adamant, you know, we wanted another chance because we felt like we let one get away. So,
Again, that game during the regular season was a great game by Nanaga, and then not enough guys to support that scoring-wise anyways.
well, and we knew the way that they were going to defend us, it was going to open opportunities for our other two guards, you know. So they did a really good job of being physical with Bryce off the ball. And they put their best athlete on Brendan Grindstaff with his length, with Dane Hood's length and size, to try to frustrate him. So we knew we were going to have an opportunity to try to drive a little bit more, but we also knew that a kid like Connor Marlatt was going to be left open at the top of the key with some adjustments that we were going to make. And Connor had a career high with 20 points last night, hit 4 threes, looked phenomenal. So, you know, you've got a couple of kids that have maybe been role players on the offensive end that do a great job for us defensively, but haven't consistently hit shots. And in 2 of our last 3 games, we got those role kids kind of rolling. And, you know, if we can continue to push that forward and play like that on Friday night, then we've got multiple weapons on the offensive end, and it makes us that much more difficult to guard.
55 points, I'm sure you'll take that. That's 11 over your season average.
Yeah, and a lot of that was, you know, good shot selection. You know, kids hitting open looks when they got it, but also we rebounded really, really well. And sometimes on the defensive end, we've kind of been dominated inside, and we haven't been able to stop possessions, you know, or close out possessions. And we tell our kids that we have to be able to rebound to run. And the 2 boys that did most of the rebounding for us haven't always been on the varsity floor for us either. Landon Hughes, who's a freshman, we moved up from the JV. He had 11 rebounds last night, so he's played twice against Northwide and had 11 rebounds both times.
Wow.
You know, that's a kid who's like, he's just all-out effort. We kind of say he's got a Dennis Rodman type approach to basketball. He doesn't care about scoring. If he has to, he'll shoot a layup. But he's going to get on every loose ball. He's going to fight for every rebound, and he's always got a chance to make a play inside. And then his older brother, Blake, you know, Blake Hughes, this is his first year playing basketball. It's been a little bit of a slow process getting him accustomed to playing basketball. You know, he's a big physical kid. He kind of likes to push around and play a little more offensive line than center.
Sure.
But last night was a game where he could thrive. You know, his physicality, I thought, helped set the tone for us to be able to rebound, and he had 8 rebounds. So between the Hughes brothers,
wow,
we had 19 rebounds, and their ability to rebound gave us a physicality we'd been lacking. You know, we've been trying to play Bryce in there for most of the last month or so, and that's not a place that Bryce is comfortable. You know, he's a good jumper, he's a good athlete, but he's not that physical presence that Blake can be. And because Blake and Landon did such a great job of rebounding, it allowed us to get out in transition a lot more. It was harder for them to defend Brendan by face guarding him because we could outlet quick and go. And I thought just the ability to play in the open floor took away their game plan. You know, and with Connor stepping up and hitting shots at the top of the key, it took away their triangle and 2. You know, they were putting so much emphasis out as we were running both our guys out that it left driving lanes in for both Jaden and Connor, and they did a good job of exploiting that. And then we got back into, you know, a more typical style of basketball where we could do some things. But we had to make some serious adjustments after the last game because they took us out of our stuff and our kids were up to the task.
Had to be probably rewarding to you to see somebody like Connor Marlatt. I remember when we saw you earlier in the season over at South Newton, he had a really good game. And then maybe some tough times going down the stretch. I looked at some of your box scores. He didn't score as many as I thought he would. He's such a great athlete. He's been, you know, your quarterback on their football team for since he's a freshman, I think. And it's just to have him come in with a 20-plus points last night in sectional play has got to be big.
Yeah, and he's a kid that he's such a great athlete. You would never think an athlete like that would maybe lack some confidence. And his shot looks good when it leaves his hand. We talk about in practice. I didn't have a reason why he wasn't making shots. He'd put some work in, and you're like, it looks good, man. I don't have the answer. And we talked about maybe, looking a little further past the front of the rim to be able to knock down some shots. And bottom line, when you're a kid that's maybe struggled a little bit with your shot, if you see that first one go in, then immediately you're a little more confident and a little more willing to shoot the second one, so you need that first one. And when he stepped up and hit that first one, you could just see there was a big smile on his face like it was a relief. And then he just played, and it was a good moment for Connor to get into that rhythm, and it was a great night for him because it solidifies all the things that we believe that he can be. Yes, he's a great athlete. Yes, he's an ultimate competitor. And it was nice to see him finally knock down some shots and feel good about what he brings to our program because he's such a huge piece of who we are.
Let's talk a little bit about Naniga again. That is he going to go on and play basketball in college?
He is. He's still got another year with us.
He's only a junior.
He's only a junior.
Oh my goodness! So you got freshmen. You got him coming back. You really probably are looking forward to the future pretty big time.
You want to make sure that you're building your program, from every avenue that you can. It's nice to have a freshman point guard to continue to grow and build around because he's going to be a 4-year varsity starter in Brendan Grindstaff. So you get that and you build that experience, and then you have a kid like Bryce who's kind of the ultimate consistent.
He plays like a senior.
He does, and he spends so much time on his game. He plays everywhere. He's in the gym nonstop. We would come to football games and we'd have little tailgates for our boys, and he'd say, "Hey, can I get in the gym and shoot?" And he would shoot all the way up. And there were always kids in the gym this fall, and that was some of his leadership.
That's great.
And you get a kid like him that plays at that level and plays with that level, that high level of consistency, and you want to see other kids, like our young kids, for example, our 5th and 6th grade kids, they want to high five him, they want to be around him all the time, and that's helping the program as well. So it's nice to have, not only seniors like Connor that kids emulate, and juniors like Bryce, but also freshmen like Brendan at the top too, and that gives you the idea that, hey, man, we're going to get this thing going in the right direction. And all of these young kids, they have an idol on this team. Our assistant coaches bring their young boys to practice, and they're always running around and talking and high-fiving the kids, and sometimes getting in the middle of the drill when they don't need to. But, it's a family atmosphere, and we want to make sure that it's something that everybody's proud of from top to bottom.
I was mixed up about Naniga being 1 year younger, but I look at Grindstaff. He doesn't look like a freshman. He looks like he'd be out there, junior or something. The way he plays, he's got a good build on him too. He holds up well in the game.
He does, and the thing about his game is you don't realize how fast he is until you try to guard him. He accelerates very quickly. He stops quickly. He can get his shot off quickly, and we've kind of told him from the moment we brought him up at South Newton, I think our 3rd game of the year, we wanted him to have a high level of confidence. And I told him pregame that night, I said, you have a permanent green light. And if you take a bad shot or you make a bad decision shooting the ball, we will talk about it another day. I wanted him to know that he needed to try to score and not just be a ball handler for us to have success. And some of our best games, he's been in the 20s scoring the basketball, which is exceptional for a freshman.
Sure.
So you look at his growth over the course of the year, and he's only going to continue to improve as he gets older, and he'll be much more aggressive than he is right now. So he's got a bright future ahead of him.
Let's talk a bit about your challenge coming up on Friday night. Going to play the hosts Caston. Caston's 10-12 coming in. They handled you pretty well back on January 23rd. We talked a little bit about how there was a lot of things didn't go line up right for the Trojans that night.
So, you go back to that game, and there's so many things that took place in and around that time that kind of played against us. We hadn't played in a couple of weeks. We were, I think, right in the middle of being very sick as a team that, a variety of things were running through us. We had some weather delays and some cancellations, and we had a day off of school that day, and then we still decided to play it.
That alone's got to be tough, doesn't it?
It was just odd. All the circumstances leading up to that game just kind of didn't help prepare us for that moment. We played a really good first quarter, had a lead at the end of one. It was a 5-point game under a minute inside of the second quarter, and we made some mistakes, and it ballooned to 10. And then coming out in the third quarter, I think they went back-to-back threes, and then we turned the ball over, and they got a layup, and it went from 10 to 18 in a heartbeat.
Uh-huh.
And at that point, we kind of lost focus. So, we talked to the kids today, and we watched some film and said, look, people look at that final score, and that final score has no bearing on what these two teams are. Sometimes you get in a rut, and things get away from you in a hurry. Caston hit 11 or 12 threes in that game. So that's difficult to come back from in and of itself. Any team that hits 10 threes in a game, that's hard to overcome when you're a 45-point scoring team like we've been most of the year. So we have to make sure that defensively we're a lot more sound than what we were in the first game, and honestly we're a lot different than we were then too. So there really isn't a whole lot you can take from that first game other than you look at how we played in the first half and you tell the kids it's not what people might think. Our goal at the beginning of the year was to try to find a way to get to a sectional title. We told our kids that we thought that the sectional was probably going to run through two teams, and one of those two teams had to be Caston because it's on their home floor.
Right.
And we knew that they were going to be a tough out. So in order to get to a sectional title, you've got to get through the best teams. And we're going to have one of those teams in front of us on Friday night. We know they're going to be well coached. We know they've got two really good shooters. They've got a freshman wing who's an outstanding athlete. And they're going to battle, and they're going to play hard, and they're going to switch defenses on us, and we have to be able to handle all of those things and execute.
You think your squad's mindset now, was that obviously a good shot in the arm, the victory last night, but you think, are they going to come in pretty confident?
Oh, I think so. I think we'll be ready to battle. I think the atmosphere there will be outstanding. Anytime that you get four competitive teams in a 1A sectional on a Friday night, I think there'll be 3 of the 4 bands there. At Caston, it's got a little bit of a low ceiling, so it's loud to begin with, and things bounce off in there. It's going to be electric, and I think our kids will be up to the task.
All right. You'll be looking for the 5th sectional championship. West Central hasn't won one for last time was 2005. You did go back-to-back, 04 and 05, but that's quite a stretch in between. Still looking for another sectional championship here.
Yeah, and that's the thing is you want to try to find a way to get into those games. You can't get to Saturday without battling on Friday, and Friday's always a big atmosphere in this sectional because you've got Tri-County that brings a great group of fans. Caston will bring a big group of fans, and I know Frontier will have a whole bunch in their community as well. I thought our community turned out really well for a Tuesday night at Caston. It's a long drive for all of us.
Sure.
So that sometimes is a challenge to get everybody over there, but we're all kind of fighting for the same things, and it's going to be a tight 2 games, I think, on Friday night.
It should be a lot of fun over there at Caston, and hey, good luck to the Trojans, and we want to thank you for being so, coming out and giving the extra effort, and helping us with the show, and I know I'm sure there's a lot of people in Francisville and Madairyville that love to, see their kids talked about and whatnot.
Well, and I think sometimes people miss out on those things. You want people like you guys that support high school athletics. I mean, that's what we're all here to do, is to promote our kids. And it's not lost on me how much time and effort you two put in. Scotty puts in as well, sometimes running multiple shows. And it's important to promote our kids, to let them know how much support they have, in good times and in bad.
Sure.
We've had some struggling times this year, but our kids persevere and they keep fighting through. And I think that it's always a positive to get in here and talk about the positive things that are going within the culture of West Central basketball.
Well, we know that if anybody can bring it back, remember very well what you used to do with the girls program there, and talk about a lot of success. And so it's good to have you back and at the helm, and good luck tomorrow night. That should be a good one, and then it's, you get past that, then it's,
who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
Who
right.
knows?
That'll be fun. All right. Thank you, Brad. Appreciate you coming.
Right.
Brad Odom of the
Thanks,
West Central Trojans joining us here, and we'll take another timeout and come back. We've got South Newton. Coach Ricky Monemeyer will join us in the cleanup position. Just 3 coaches tonight, but we'll talk to Ricky about his season and last night's game a little bit here. Come back and join us for more on 3kgthecage.com.
Anders Water Conditioning in downtown Rensselaer is here for all of your water supplies and softening needs. At Anders, we sell and rent water softeners, water coolers, and have all of your bottled water and salt needs too. Call Chuck to set up your consultation today. 219-866-7430. Anders Water Conditioning, family owned since 1991.
After a hard day's work or play, it's time for some relaxation, and there's no better place than Unwind on Front Street in Rensselaer. For massage therapy, facials, spray tanning, yoga classes, and wellness, stop by Unwind. They also offer student-athletes 30-minute massages for $25. Alina would like to thank Unwind's loyal customers for their patronage since 2016. To make an appointment, call Unwind at 219-869-0290.
Every day you listen to the news, but how is that news affecting your financial world? Things like your retirement and your kids' college fund. You need someone who can help you work towards your goals. Someone to help you move forward in the times of change. Call Mindy Byer at Morgan Stanley. Mindy has 20 years of experience as a financial advisor, and she's right here in Northwest Indiana. To make an appointment with Mindy Byer, call 765-420-8433. Morgan Stanley Smith Barney LLC, member SIPC.
Reinforcements Designs is a full-service graphic design, screen printing, and sign shop. They offer logo designs, screen printing, banners, signs, vehicle lettering and graphics, airbrushing, vinyl letterings, digital printed graphics, freehand engraving, and more. 37 years of design and graphics, Reem Bontrager will help you come up with a customized project of your ideal or plan. Just ask. Give Reinforcements Design a call at 219-866-8626 for your next graphic design project.
Welcome back to Arnie's Pizzeria in Rensselaer. We're joined by Coach Ricky Monemeyer of the South Newton Rebels. And Coach, the season kind of came to a crashing end last night, but let's take us back to last weekend, where your final game of the regular season. First, let's talk about that. That was a big win over Attica, at Attica, 49-28.
Yep.
It had to be nice to get a win and snap a losing streak for you guys.
It was. We went down to Attica. It was their senior night, their homecoming night. A lot of stuff going on. They've been down the last few years. The rest of our conference that had gone down there had really, taken it to them. So going in, we were obviously confident, but I told the guys over and over that they've gotten better since last year. If we don't play our best game, it could be a competitive game when it shouldn't be. We went down there without Colton Marks. He didn't play. He rolled his ankle that week, so we were resting him for sectional play. And then Chase Stillbauer was coming off of, or
beginning to have the flu. So he ended up playing, though, and played pretty well for us. So we had 8 able bodies on the varsity, and then one kid with a quarter of play. So went in, and first quarter 10-8, we were really just filling each other out, I think. Second quarter, we outscored them 15-7, so we were up at half 25-15. The flow of the game was kind of weird. I didn't feel like overly great about it, but we were up, so it was a positive for us. Second half, third quarter, we outscored them 10-3, and then the fourth quarter outscored them 14-10. So much better second half. We ended up winning the game 49-28. Chase Stillbauer led us with 15, and then Matthew Armstrong and Luke Hoskins both had 11, and Luke finished with a double-double as well. So he had 11 points and 10 boards on the game. Overall, good effort. They were gelling a little better in the second half, playing through some illness a little bit. So it's nice to see us come off with a win to end the regular season, which moves us to 4 wins on the year, which was 2 more than last year. So
any kind of improvement, has got to be.
And there was a lot this year, a lot of improvement. Record doesn't show that, but there was a lot of growth and development from a lot of our guys. So we'll talk about that when we can wrap up the season here. But
it was a tough start to the season. It seemed like you had some personnel missing and injuries, and just ran off 5 straight losses out of the gate, and that's not a good way to start the season anyway.
Well, our team's completely different from then too, right? We didn't have Colton Marks or Owen Firkins those first 4 or 5 games there at the 3 games, probably 3 or 4 games. We didn't have them for 4 quarters. We were still splitting them JV, or they were playing full JV and a couple quarters of varsity. So completely different makeup of the team. We've had a couple kids quit since then that are no longer with the program, and it's allowed those kids to step up and play and provide big minutes for us and big numbers down the stretch. I don't know. Are we doing the wrap up now, or do you want to wait until we go over sectional stuff?
Yeah, let's talk about last night's game.
Okay.
Played Tri-County, and they obviously played a pretty good game.
Yep.
Scoring 70, lost 70-39. So, what did you guys do good? Who played well? And what did you do not so good?
I thought first quarter was a pretty back and forth for the most part. They outscored us 19-11, but just as far as how it started, it was kind of, they had like 6-7 point lead. We drew it back to like 8-5. Like it wasn't like it was a blowout the entire time. Our kids battled. Several of our guys, it was their first sectional atmosphere, so out of our roster, the kids that returned, we only had really the 2 last year that played in the sectional. So everybody else was fresh to the sectional, brand new. A lot of first game sectional jitters, and you could tell with the way we were playing and the aggressiveness of some of our kids that they were just a little timid. And I told them before the game that we cannot be. This is not a time to be timid at all. This is like go, win or go home. So we settled in after that, I thought, and then second quarter they really took it to us. Kage Baylor's a tough kid to stop down low. Drew a lot of fouls. Second quarter he only scored 1 basket, but he had 7 free throws, so he was at the line quite a bit. They hit some threes. We were slow in transition, slow in rotation, and they were dictating what we were doing on our offensive end, and we could just never really find a flow. And I'm sure he already talked about it, but the very end of the first half, they had like a 8-point swing where they saw an inbound pass, scored, and then they hit the buzzer beater on a deflected ball. So they go in. We were down 17. They go in halftime. Now up, 22. So it's just one of those, just like, what do we do kind of thing.
What do you do in the locker room of a game like that, or it's kids are facing a tough challenge? What do you tell them?
One possession at a time. We told them coming out, like, we're not going to get it back at once. So you got to battle one possession at a time, get a stop, get a score, get a stop, get a score. And we battled a little bit, but we did not score them third quarter or fourth quarter. The kids were just tired. I don't know if we've got some kids even dealing with illness. I'm not even sure. But Tri-County played very well down the stretch, and especially Kobe down the stretch. So
Kobe Baylor, yeah.
he only scored 5 in the second half, so like his production mostly was in the first half last night, but he didn't play much in the fourth quarter at all against us. And then down the stretch for us, Matthew Armstrong had a really, really good game. He had 12 of his 14 in the second half. Was at the free throw line quite a bit. He was battling on the boards, getting to the free throw line, knocking down free throws, so that was good to see. Yeah, he had 14, Chase Silver had 11, and then Colt Marks had 8, and Luke Hoskins had 6. That was all of our scoring. So we had 3 about double figures, but nobody else really scoring, which is not a great recipe for success when they go 21, 13, 11, and then mix in 6 and 4 and 9. So just we got to get better. That's all
Is
there
that
to
kids
it.
not being aggressive enough, or
I don't know if it's not being
Through the
aggressive
upper line.
enough. We could see, the bumps, bruises, scrapes, floor burns on our kids after the game. Like, we battled, we got after it a little bit, but it's just one of those, like, that's an experienced team. A lot of those kids were on that sectional team last year. They didn't lose a whole lot outside of Nate Corbin last year off that sectional roster, so they returned a lot. They've got that sectional experience, and sometimes that makes all the difference.
Sure.
They've got 3 really quality seniors. We have 2, and then we play a lot of sophomores. So we're throwing a young roster at a team that's pretty much senior, junior heavy, and that sometimes makes a difference as well. But you can tell that team is, well coached. They play basketball year round. They've got kids that have a basketball in their hands, and that's kind of thing that we're stressing to the kids now is like after the game, thank the seniors, whatever, but we told the other kids that your off season starts now. Like, what you're going to do now until the start of next season is going to determine if we can really, like, turn this thing around or not. We can't just show up in season and decide, like, I want to be good at basketball, because that's just not how it works. Very few kids that I know or have ever been around have been able to just pick up a basketball during season and be really good at it. Most kids that are good at basketball are ones that, they play year-round. They play in the summertime. They're playing in the springtime. They're going to clinics. They're going to different things. They don't have to, but it definitely helps. So that's just one thing we're reinforcing the kids, and the weight room. Weight room and playing more basketball this offseason is going to be the determine if we are going to be, a 8-10 win team next year or another 4-win team next year. So
talk a little bit about the season as a whole. Who, was able to step up and play to their expectations, and what are, you just mentioned some of the challenges you got for this bunch, but is there anything specific that they need to work on? And
well, going in, we thought, we had, like, obviously a few kids that quit. We were expected to play more varsity minutes this year. And then we expected, not sure what to expect from Chase, but expected Chase to come around and be our guy going forward, and he did turn into being that. Matthew Armstrong, we expected big things from. Luke Hoskins, Dominic Scott, and a couple of our juniors mixed in there. We expected some bigger things this year, and we were pleasantly surprised with Colton Marks and Owen Firkins, the way they stepped up and played down the stretch for us. They really developed, and like it was hard to take them off the floor a lot of times. They shot high percentage shots. They, were leading in steals categories or
what
points.
year was
or
his Marks? Was he
sophomore?
Sophomore. Okay.
Yep, so Colton Marks, Dominic Scott, Owen Firkins, Matthew Armstrong, and Nate Coleman. Those guys are all sophomores. So those are kids that we're really relying on this year, and it's positive going forward that we'll have to rely on those guys again. So. But yeah, those were the big surprises for us. We expected a few of those guys to be like our guys, but the nice surprises of like Colton developing the way he did, and Owen developing the way that he did, it helped us quite a bit and helped us be a lot more competitive in some games down the stretch there. But yeah, it was up and down. I think you look back at it, if we have this group in our whole schedule, if they're playing, the same group we have, we probably win a few more games. We weeded out the ones that, didn't really want to be a part of the program, and that's okay with us. It reduced a lot of distractions, and it created a more, family-like atmosphere inside our program rather than, kids only being there for themselves. So great for us to get those out of the program and just be positive with the kids that we have. And we developed and grew, and we got a lot better. We look at stats from last year. I think we finished averaging about 32, 33 points a game. We were right around 40 this year. We have one kid over 200 points for the season. We had two others that were pretty close.
Who was that, Stillbauer? Or?
Armstrong had 204 for the year,
okay.
So he was at like 9 points a game. Stillbauer played 4 less games and had 178, so he was right there with him. And then Colton Marks had 188 and 2 less games than Armstrong. So great things from all those guys. Going forward, we're really going to miss Chase and Luke and Carlos on the floor. So, just it's big voids to fill for those guys.
If you could string some classes like that sophomore class,
yeah,
and get them all playing at the same time, how's the real youth, the middle school, how's those programs
got a lot of
doing?
nice pieces coming up. So our 8th grade should have 5 or so kids that'll contribute. The 7th grade's got a good handful of kids that can contribute with some size. Our 6th grade, same thing. We've got a kid that, if he develops the way that I think he can develop, he could contribute like as a freshman coming into high school. So it's great. It's all coming together kind of thing. We just got to be patient and keep stringing these classes along. Sometimes it's hard at a small school to, please everybody, and you want to dress your upperclassmen on varsity, but that's not always the case. Sometimes it's just you dress freshmen, you dress sophomores, you dress the ones that really give you that competitive advantage. So we are stringing the right groups along right now. We've got good pieces coming up. Our elementary grades are still playing right now. They're playing some travel stuff, so it's all coming together.
How are the numbers in the young?
All pretty good. So 10 or so in each grade that play right now. Or like I said, our 8th grade will probably only have 5 or so that come up next year. I think we've got a couple kids in that class that are wrestlers, so they'll wrestle in high school. But for the most part, the kids that we have coming up should contribute at the JV level right away next year and be competitive. So,
how about seniors? Who you lose off your roster?
Chase Stillbauer, Luke Hoskins, and then Carlos Arias Lopez. So Carlos only started playing last year. Only had him for 2 years, but Chase and Luke both played all 4 years for me. Before I became varsity coach last year, I coached them on JV for 2 years, so knew exactly what to expect from both of them as they came into the season. They're hard workers. They're blue-collar type kids. Like, they're not super flashy. They're gritty.
Certainly names you recognize for South Newton basketball.
They're gritty. They're physical. They like contact. They love all those kinds of things. So they're like my kind of kids, and just proud of their development and growth this year. I thought Chase was a fantastic leader for us in the locker room, on the floor, coordinated a lot of stuff for us, and kind of helped keep that gel together. So, like I said, he's going to be one that I think going forward is going to be a huge replacement for us.
How about now? It's kind of like the what's the word I want to say? Just the reality of it. All of a sudden you're done. So what do you tell? What are the kids going to do, for the rest of the school year and then the summertime to really get this program back to, where you want it to be?
We have several that are going into spring sports, whether it be baseball or track right now. So they've already kind of started that transition. And
that's big too. You got to do different sports.
Yeah, I was just talking to Ryan over here about that. Just kids need to play more sports than just playing basketball or just playing football.
Whether it's track or
especially at a small school, you should be playing 2 to 3 sports no matter what. It's hard to specialize in just one sport at a school that's got 60 kids in a class. Like, everybody needs to play sports and contribute. So we always push for multi-sport stuff. We're even pushing kids to try different sports if they're not in a fall sport, or try a sport in the spring if they're not in a spring sport. So that's important going forward. It's good cross-training stuff for them. But we'll start our open gym stuff up when we're allowed to. Sometime in April, I think, is when that window opens back up. So we'll start going a couple days a week at that point until like second week of May. Take a few weeks off, and then we hit summer schedules. So we'll end up playing, at least once a week during the summer as far as scrimmage goes, and then we'll have open gyms a couple days a week to get
Is
up
that a
and down.
league play? Can you play as a team?
We've done league stuff before. We've partnered with like the Lafayette area schools and done some things. But last year we kind of I went out and just scheduled a bunch of different things for the summer. So we went down to a shootout at Purdue last year. We did, I think we hosted one or two different times. We went to Donovan, Illinois and played. We went to Attica and played. There were several teams there too, so it's not like we're just playing those schools. So I like to find those more than anything just because you get to see some different teams. You can get some rest while you're rotating and watching and playing the other schools. So typically that's the kind of the format that we like to use. But if we can play twice in a week, I'm all for it. You get so many competition days during the summer. I'm not, without it in front of me, I'm not sure how many of those there are. But definitely try to play at least once a week during the month of June, and then July is pretty hard to schedule much just because you've got moratorium week that first week of July typically. Our school pretty much takes off the week of Fair Week, with kids being pretty active in that, so nothing's like required during that time, and then those last 2 weeks are transitioning back into school time and football kids going to football and that kind of thing. So
Ricky, we want to thank you for your loyalty to the program. You show up every week and give us the time that we ask of you, and we know you got an awful busy schedule. But on the flip side of that, I know you probably want to thank some people for that have been a big help for you for this South Newton basketball schedule.
Yeah. So coaching staff, first, they're same guys from last year. We added Coach Buddy Scott this year as well. So I've got 4 pretty good ones. Coach Miller was on staff last year, but he officially retired after the season, and we did miss him, but he came to a lot more games than I thought he would. He was in the stands for a good handful of our games, and he even drove over to Caston last night and watched us. So didn't get a chance to speak with him, but thanks to the coaching staff, they put in a lot of time. They've got families and other responsibilities, and I'm the only teacher on staff, I'm one of 2 teachers on staff. So coordinating the other 3 coaches' schedules sometimes is a little tough, and having your lay coaches, you need your lay coaches, but sometimes you get caught in a meeting or they get caught like making up hours at work, so they miss some things. But for the most part, they're there, they're willing to do things, they ask questions, they're engaged, they help the kids, they're good with the kids. They put out fires sometimes if I'm not around to put out fires. So I trust them with pretty much anything as if I'm not there, kind of thing. So I think that's super important for being a head coach, to have a good staff underneath you, because if you don't, then you just feel like you're having to handle absolutely everything. And I don't always feel that way. I think that our guys do a really good job of being coaches, and they've gotten so much better since last year. Even a couple of our coaches, their first time in the high school setting coaching was last year, and their growth from last year to this year has been pretty impressive as well. To comment on that, just they're more vocal, they're better understanding the game, they work hard, they learn different things, they go to the clinics and stuff with me. So all positive things going forward, and they're all in. Like we talked last night, just how it sucks that last night ended, but like we're already gearing up and planning for what is gonna be next year now. We're already started, so we're planning on going to the clinic here in a couple months. We're planning on doing a couple different things. We were talking about summer schedule. We were talking about get him in the weight room, like all different kinds of things. So that is nice for me as a coach too, to know that they're not like cashed out, ready to be just completely done and not do things for a few months here, but they're ready to get going just like I am. So that's a plus. Seniors, I already kind of talked to them a little bit, but big voids to fill, like I've mentioned, especially with Chase and Luke, 4-year guys for us. We would have had 1 or 2 more in that class if they'd have stuck it out, but I'm very thankful for Chase and Luke for the 4 years. And then Carlos for the past 2. I told him last night if we would have had him for 2 more years, he'd just be, I can only imagine how much better of a player he'd be, because he's grown so much since picking up a basketball pretty much for the first time last year to now. Like, he's just a completely different kid. So the growth in him and the development is all to him. I mean, he put in the work, he was coachable, he listened, he tried different things. Sometimes he'd get pretty frustrated with playing time, or not understanding certain things, but like there was a kid that just never stopped working and busted his butt. So thankful for them. They set the tone. They were good leaders. They were ones that set an example for those in the locker room of like how to lead, how to be a leader, what you need to do to get better in the off season, because they were ones that just never stopped working. So very thankful for them. Our administration, always Mr. Bell, Mr. Keller, Mr. Hall, they were always supportive of us, and you see them at a lot of the games, one because they have to be there most of the times, but others I know they just traveled to watch us play sometimes, so always nice to see, and anytime we needed anything or had questions, like always willing to help us out, so very thankful for that. Our parents coordinated all of the away game meal stuff for us again this year. That's one big thing I don't have to worry about. It's nice for our kids to have some kind of food on the way home. That way we don't have to stop somewhere, or hopefully they bring food kind of thing. So it's already prepared for us, and the parents are great at that. And they've got a nice group chat going. And usually it's a senior parent. Going forward, it might be nice to start kind of like a parents club kind of thing to get that coordinated, where it's not always having to be a senior parent, but just get kind of everybody on board about like this is what we do. So that's kind of something we're looking at going forward. But yeah, and then obviously the players putting in the time they did, the growth and development from day one this year, like to the end of this season, and even last year to this year, it's like night and day. It doesn't always feel that way when you're taking lumps and you're taking losses, but I keep looking at the games we're playing, and even the close games we're losing. Like most of the teams we're losing to are like senior heavy teams, or they're very upperclassmen heavy, and we just don't have that. We're like, we have juniors on our varsity level, but most of our contributions right now are from a couple of our seniors and the sophomore class. So future is bright there. We just got to get the kids to buy in and work and do those things in the off season that are going to make us better going forward. And I think a big one of those too is bonding, just spending time together. Any good team that I've been a part of, they love spending time with each other outside of the sport. We won sectional football my junior year of high school, and we were awful my sophomore year as a record. We were like 1-9, 2-9, whatever it was. I think it was 1-9, and the difference in that year was just us. We bought into the weight room. We bought into hanging out with each other. We were together like literally every weekend doing something, so it matters. We push that on our kids a lot, and they're already a pretty tight group. Like that sophomore group, those kids are literally always together. I think like that is a big thing going forward. The junior group, same thing. They're like literally always together. So we keep that going. We keep that development going. I think good things for the future for us. They just got to put the work in the weight room and the gym and when nobody's watching kind of thing.
When you say the weight room, are there specific things for the sport of basketball that the kids got to really focus on?
Yes.
I mean, you don't just go in there and
right.
do curls and stuff,
no.
right?
Curls are for the girls, but no, not. I mean, there is, but there isn't. You'd like your kids to do like more plyo stuff or explosive type exercises, but really, I mean, you look at our group of kids and they just got to put on muscle. So like, there's so many different lifts that are out there for like, every kind of athlete that would benefit them, and we just got to get them to buy into that aspect of it. Some of our kids are kind of lengthy and a little scrawnier looking, but they're bigger than what they look at times as far as weight goes. Like, I'm a terrible judge when it comes to looking at a kid and predicting weight kind of thing, that it was either look way smaller or bigger than they actually are. So like some of our kids carry their weight pretty well, but we're already talking like some kids just got to put on like 10 pounds of muscle next year just to be an improvement kind of thing. So it's just going to help them be stronger with the ball, stronger in the post, better defenders, better rebounders, better scorers. So like all that goes hand in hand with each other. But no, there's a lot of different things that I like to do in the weight room with the kids. I know Mr. Beavis has kind of a program going with our weightlifting class now, so we'll probably try to tie the two things in together. And then your off-season lifting is just different than your in-season stuff as well. So we'll get together as a coaching staff and other coaches in the school and try to put together something that benefits all of our athletes, not just like, hey, this is a basketball workout, because really like the workouts we want our kids doing should benefit everybody else too, not just our basketball kids. But yeah, outside of that, thank to my wife and kids and stuff, because without them and being
New baby.
Yep, new baby.
How's that going?
That's going great.
Is it? Yeah.
Yep, he's just turned 2 months old today.
Oh my goodness.
So without them being supportive and patient and dealing with my grumpy days, this would be pretty hard too. I don't think I'd be able to do it without the patience and allowing me to not be present all the time kind of thing, because it is a busy schedule. When you get into the season, you're 6 days a week, guaranteed you're somewhere doing something. And then your Sunday's usually prep work for that week of whoever you're playing for the week. So it's a lot of coordination, a lot of just, like I said, patience and understanding through her part, and very thankful for that. But yeah, outside of that, just our managers were great this year. Fans were great. Just very thankful for the progress we made this year. It doesn't show record-wise yet. We did double our wins from last year. We are going in the right direction, and I think just the future is bright for us going forward.
A lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes.
A lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes.
Not just to throw it up and play 4 quarters.
To say, a lot of people think it's super easy until you get into the role of what we're doing, and there's nothing easy about it at all. It is a pretty
time-consuming, isn't it?
It's a 12-month commitment, and that's no exaggeration, because I was just talking to Ryan. He's like, so what are you going to do now that, season's over kind of thing? And I'm like, I'm already ready. Like, we're already going for next year. Like, I got to get summer schedule ready. We're going to clinics. I'm doing some personal development stuff myself as far as, like, how do I become a better coach for next year to make our kids better. Obviously family time's going in there too. You're mixing that in. But
how do you pick up, like, offenses and things like that as a coach? How do you change from year or expand from year to year?
It's expanded quite a bit in the last couple of years. Really, you're looking at personnel and what fits your personnel. Like, if you have a team that can't shoot threes, but you're trying to run a run and gun offense that shoots threes, you're probably not going to win many basketball games. So we try to fit stuff that fits our personnel, and I assume every coach tries to do the same thing. But you don't want to go in there and, like, we're only running this offense, only running this thing. Like, this is the only plays we're running, because if you're not adapting and changing to what you have, then it's going to be pretty hard to be successful. I feel like you always have to adapt and change things and fine-tune things as they go. And this year we added stuff as we went, obviously. So, like, we were changing things up from, like, first day of practice to, like, last day. We were running completely different stuff, just adapting to what we had. So I'm always looking for things that what fits our scheme, what fits our kids' strengths, what's going to put them in the best position to score, best position to defend, best position to be successful. So there's a lot of thought that goes into that. But after you're playing in the springtime, you got summertime, you're running a whole summer schedule, which includes weights, summer open gyms, scrimmages, other clinics if there is some available. And then you hit fall, there's off-season fall workouts. So, like, now you're in the weight room, you're running on the track, you're getting a ball in your hands, you're going a couple days a week in the gym, and then you're right back in the season, which is November to March. So it is a jam-packed schedule. A lot of people think it's super easy, and it is not. So very thankful for the ones that were supportive this year and the ones that helped us out along the way. But our guys were great. The guys in our group were great. The guys that finished out with us were great. So I'm very excited for the future of South Newton basketball.
All right, Ricky Montmeyer, thank you very much for being here and helping us enjoy these Wednesday nights and talking about your kids and their progress. And we appreciate it so much and look forward to the future. It's always so much fun to go out there to South Newton. You're so right about the support you get from administrators. You guys always kind of bend over backwards for us, and it makes it a real joy to come out there and watch South Newton sports.
And thank you guys for allowing me to come over every week and talk with you and get the word out about our program, because I think that's important too. Talking about our kids and making sure their names are out there for their success is important.
All right, Ricky Ponemeyer of the South Newton Rebels. We'll take a final timeout and come back and wrap it up. The Coach's Cage Show on 3kgthecage.com. Thank you, Ricky. Take a week off. I don't know how your wife let you.
Meet you at Arnie's, Rensselaer's go-to pizza and so much more. Pizza, sandwiches, burgers are here. Don't forget about dessert. Wings, cheese sticks, garlic bread too. Arnie's pizza menu has something for everyone. Dine in or carry out in the best pizza in town. Located across from St. Joseph's College in Rensselaer. Call 219-866-9999 and meet you at Arnie's.
Midwest Contractor Services of Rensselaer, with over 15 years of experience, offers both insulation and gutter services for new construction and existing homes in Jasper, Newton, Lake, and Porter counties. You could save money and lower energy bills by adding more insulation to your house. New insulation project? Let Midwest Contractor Services offer you a custom insulation package that fits your needs. Leaves in your gutter? Let us give you a price on leaf protection products that really work and are affordable. Call Marty or Mark at Midwest Contractor Services today at 219-866-0755 and get an estimate for your project.
Reinforcements Designs is a full-service graphic design, screen printing, and sign shop. They offer logo designs, screen printing, banners, signs, vehicle lettering and graphics, airbrushing, vinyl letterings, digital printed graphics, freehand engraving, and more. 37 years of design and graphics, Reem Bontrager will help you come up with a customized project of your ideal or plan. Just ask, give Reinforcements Design a call at 219-866-8626 for your next graphic design project.
Working with our customers has been Kentland Bank's trademark for 87 years. We're dedicated to making your visit a lasting one, and helping you achieve your goals is our #1 priority. With 5 locations, Kentland Bank offers all loans needed for today's businesses and families, including car loans, mortgages, agriculture, and commercial loans. We're here to make your busy life less hectic by offering online and mobile banking, bill pay, and P2P payments. Member FDIC and Equal Housing Lender.
Welcome back to Arnie's Pizzeria here in Rensselaer, where one more week of the Coach's Cage Show. We'll wrap it up with the coaches that are in action here tonight. Some of the guys that weren't able to make it, but so far sectionals hot and heavy in these first couple days over in 4A. Last night it was up in Chesterton, sectional number 2. It was Portage losing to the host Chesterton Trojans 57-51. Well, they're tipped off for the game number 1 tonight there in Chesterton, and Kage Valley is finding themselves behind at halftime. They trail Crown Point 20-46. So KV with a big task ahead of them in the second half of play if they want to move on up there in Chesterton. Valpo and Hobart are in the second game tonight there. Other action is we've got from tonight is the 3A sectional in Frankfurt, and that was a final in a close one. West Lafayette knocked off Benton Central tonight 41-40. So BC, their fine season this year comes to a halt with that loss, and their overall record drops to 15-9 on the season. Last night there at Frankfurt, it was Western lost in another close one to Twin Lakes, 56-54. And going on right now, are, I'm sure, the Rensselaer Central Bombers against the host Frankfurt Hot Dogs. So see who can move on and play the winner of game. Let's see, who will they be? Oh, they'll play West Lafayette. Whoever the Bombers or Frankfurt winner plays West Lafayette on Friday. In two-way action tonight, it's North Newton at Ileana Christian, and that's over at Bowman Academy in Gary. Last night, Gary 21st Century knocked off Lighthouse 72-42, so that was a big victory for them. The first game tonight up there is the host Bowman Academy squad versus Andrean. And again, we've had the coaches from the Caston sectional in 1A here. South Newton season finished off as they lost to Tri-County last night, 70-39. Cavaliers are hitting their stride here at the right time. Oh yeah. Daniel Jakes. I'm sorry. That was we expected Daniel here tonight to wrap up the North White season with us as they lost to Brad Odom's West Central squad last night, 55-24. But he had some automobile problems. Broke down, so that's never fun, and he wasn't able to make it tonight, but he's promised us that he will get here next week and talk about the wrap-up of the Viking season over there with us, so we'll look forward to that. One other sectional going on in 1A is DeMont Christian. Want to congratulate them as they knocked off Hammond Science and Technology. 20-point victory last night, 63-43. As they've won 8 in a row. So DeMont Christian is rolling, and they will play Tri Township, one of the byes, on Friday night. Game number 1. Tri Township comes in 3-18. So DeMont's got a good opportunity here to coast into the final game, championship round, if they play well, for sure. Morgan Township will play Couts tomorrow. Couts was a winner over Washington Township, 49-45 in a close one last night. So, Bob, sectional action is always fun, huh?
Yes, it is.
Just.
I don't have a microphone.
Oh, okay. Where's your mic?
It's in the box back there.
Oh, you got the different. You've got the the producer's mic set on. I'm sorry. All right, I was gonna say you ought to turn that baby up, but that's okay. We hear you in the background. It's coming in. So, I want to thank Bob Kurtz for running the show here for us tonight, and Scotty. Yeah, he played Scotty Miller.
We
miss him for sure. We always miss Scotty. So he'll be back though, right, next week, hopefully. Yeah, we'll see. Get our full crew maybe next week as we wrap it up here in our final Coach's Cage show for the 2023/24 sports season. We'll be back though on 3KG with a schedule of baseball and softball action, so that'll be announced here real soon. We'll get it up there on Facebook and our usual outlets to show you, let you know where we'll be, so you can watch your favorite teams in action on the Diamonds. So, for my partner, Bob Kurtz, this is Bill Kay saying good night, everybody.
The proceeding was a presentation of 3KG Community Broadcasting.